we celebrate the college's 50th anniversary by looking across campus at a couple of 50 things. And we, in the music world, are looking at 50 years of great change in worship and its music. Do you have my special slide? Come on in. Yeah, Adam.
You walked in, everyone said, "Oh."
He's so cute. If I hold my pant legs up, you can see I still have the same legs. It was taken about the same time as the college broke ground. The college was beginning and I was starting a career in the church. I'm all prepared with my little Bible and apparently an early driver because no one else is around. One of the things that when I remembered this picture as we were leading up to this day, and I wanted to share it for that perspective, because what struck me when I saw this picture again after digging it out was that I didn't remember my house looking like it was in the middle of Trenton or something. You know, it just looks so desolate, and I see no greenery, even though it is black and white. And I thought, well, it's the perspective. You know, if you pull back a little, you'd know the house was surrounded in lots of pine trees and oak trees, and there are apple orchard off to the other side, and all sorts of things. And if you went about 2 miles further that way, there would be an elevation change of about 2,000 feet, because this house is at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And if you went off this way, there'd be a horse stable about 100 yards away with a dozen horses, because that was part of our thing, raising horses. But this perspective doesn't show any of that. And I think that's why you came to college, to get a broadening of your perspective. And that is what we look forward to, Dr. Wansink, to do today, as we look at that 50-year period in church music and religion in America, and explore just what's happened and perspectives from which we might decide what that is. So, would you join me in welcoming Dr. Wansink?
Chicken! There's a seat up here.
Thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule. Taco Bell's little sign that says, "You know your other options." Thanks for thanks for taking time out of your schedule for coming today. The sound is going to be pumped out of here. There's not a whole lot of sound, but enough so that Wayne, if your ears feel pressure, leave. That's good. I had a suit coat on because I think it's important for the for the dignity of the occasion, but I took it off because I felt like you could grow rice on me. This is today's topic, and I'm going to be it's not, I haven't worked through hand motions because I'm sort of going to be like a DJ over here, and just going to shift some things around. We're covering a tremendous amount, and this is the first lecture in an entire series that the Center for Sacred Music is doing this year. Next lecture coming up, Dr. Lindahl is going to be speaking on hymns and the movies. It's just a really great series, so I encourage you to come to those, because those are going to be on specific themes, and I think those are going to be really interesting. That's the title that we're working with, but it's sort of like developing a thesis, one of the challenges. This is massive. So actually, we're going to focusing on, in America, we're focusing actually only on the United States. And when I say we, I mean the royal we. Actually, 1961 and 2011, we aren't really talking about everything that happened in there. Worship and religion, actually really just one religion, Christianity. But not even much about Orthodox Christianity or serpent handlers or Catholicism. And worship is really, the focus is on public corporate worship. So we're not focusing on private worship at all. So the new, we'll still leave the title because that might have been what brought you here for requirement. But so I'm talking about corporate worship primarily with Protestants in the United States, and just really looking at this 50-year span. So again, it's going to be a little bit like trying to take a sip of water out of an open fire hydrant. You're going to cover a lot of ground. You're going to cover a lot of ground quickly. At appropriate times, I'll point to things and say, hey, you can write that down as a thesis if that's a requirement. Oh yeah, after doing all that, I thought maybe we could just focus on one church, worship in one church, but then I realized, no, we should go a little broader. What is worship is a broad question I want us to think about First, though, I want us to look at one clip. People describe worship in very different ways.
As a worship leader, as a lead worshiper, I'm doing something innovative. I'm using the heart of music and my heart to connect the heart of the people to the very heart of God's heart. I mean, that's never been done in the history of the church.
What about hymns?
Him who?
And I'm Jorge, and we just released a new CD. George and Jorge remix the world.
Yeah, you see, there's so much great music out there that is worthless because it doesn't worship God.
That's right. So what we've done is we've healed and purified them with just a little touch of Jesus.
I'll give you a taste of it right now. 1, 2, 3. So put my hands up, worshiping my God, and the sin just flies away.
Healing the sick like Yah, preaching the word like Yah. You know what this book is, Skippy? This is the only book that should be in churches other than the Holy Bible. Yep, you guessed it. It is a hymnal where such classics as Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. You know, stuff like that. Good stuff, awesome stuff. But you know, today's music, it's just a little too loud. It just sounds like it should be in a bar.
You know, the ancient church was really offended by hymns because it reminded them of bar songs.
Flip me over and tickle me twisted. Still too loud. I'm just a leper, nobody loves me.
He's just a leper from a leper colony. You not come, you must go, and your skin not show. Let it show, let it show, let it show. No, 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 no. Pharisee.
What's worship? And I think one of the challenges when we talk about worship is, again, trying to figure out how to define this. What characterizes it? What are elements of it? What's the focus of it? The purpose of it? Definition? Let's go to elements for just a moment. When you hear the word worship, what's something that comes to mind? When is it not worship? Or what needs to be there? Please help me. Sacrament. Sacrament. People. Scripture.
Prayer.
Music. Music. Beautiful. Anything else?
Word explained.
Oh, the word explained and proclaimed. Good.
The presence of God.
The presence of God. Yeah. Interesting. Fantastic. Yeah. There are a series of. Sorry.
Offering.
Say it, brother. Say it. Yeah. No, all those are key. All those are key elements. It's interesting because I think all of us have in mind at Second Presbyterian Church where I preach. Sometimes, for instance, we'll take out the Apostles' Creed, and some people will come up to me and say, "There was no creed." It's like, or sometimes people say, we expected a hymn there, it wasn't there. One of the challenges is that all of us have a different sense of what are key elements within worship. Focus of worship, as someone said, presence of God. The presence of God is not a part of it, it's a challenge. Purpose, definition. I'm throwing out just a short definition, and it's not, I just came up with it, so it doesn't mean anything. But the word worship comes from worth-ship. It literally comes from that. And really, the verb worship means to shape worth. So to worship is to turn toward the highest or best values. Worship is a lot of other things as well. But fundamentally, just etymologically, to worship means to shape worth. Etymologically, means the study of words. My class knows this. I think it's so funny. What is the difference between an etymologist and an entomologist? An etymologist knows the difference. That's right.